Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, August 13th, 2024 Town Council meeting. Just a reminder that exits are to the back and side in case of emergency, and please don't use the elevators. We'll start with the pledge. Councilor Ganesi, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll do a quick roll call. Councilor Chiricello.
Good evening.
Councilor Webb.
Good evening.
Councilor Foote.
Good evening.
Councilor Ganesi.
Good evening.
Councilor McEachern.
Evening.
And Councilor Flood is away this week. And good evening from the chair. All right. Is there a motion to open public forum?
So moved. Second.
All right. A motion to open public forum and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right. Public forum is now open. The floor is yours. Just remember to state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, councilors. Ernest St. Pierre, 28 Sunset Ave, Derry. First, I just want to let you know that the bridge is coming out great near my house. Looks really good, doing a good job. Appreciate that effort because we got flooded out on the Mother's Day flood a number of years ago because of that brook being backed up. If that brook ever backs up again with this new bridge, we all better find someplace else to live. Second thing, I came here with a hope. We've been here with prayers, now we came with a hope. And I was kind of excited because I was looking through the minutes to the June 16th meeting, and one thing that I saw from the town administrator's report was, with about 2 weeks left in the fiscal year, all major revenue sources have exceeded fiscal year 2024 revenue estimates in July, which I thought was pretty good. When I got here, I got a copy of this resolution, I guess you call it, about what you plan on doing tonight for the veterans. I got to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for doing that. That means a lot to myself, but it means a lot to all the veterans that we do it for too. I know we're doing it for the total disabled veterans, but that's really a great thing that you're doing. I hope you stay on this. I hope you keep us in the forefront of everybody's mind. These, we can go up to the $4,000, and I understand the tax cap. I get all of that, and another group that I want to thank is the residents of Derry, because the residents of Derry are bonding some of this cost. We're spreading the cost out amongst them. I know it's not a lot of money, but money's tight right now. Just trying to live on an everyday budget is a real hard thing to do. And I can imagine the time that you guys had looking to find some money to try to do this project, and I really, really appreciate it. So again, thank you very much for what you did, and please keep it in the forefront so maybe we can get it right up there in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emery Stevens. I live on Warner Hill Road, and today I'm once again here to speak about the ceasefire resolution. As of August 5th, around 85% of Gaza is under evacuation orders with no safe refuge. And in the southern area of Khan Yunis, the IOS has finally withdrawn their forces over a week of invasion and massacre, leaving over 255 dead, 300 injured, and nearly all infrastructure uninhabitable. On Saturday, the Israeli government bombed a mosque in the Al Tabin school, murdering an estimated 100+ civilians during their morning prayers. Identification of these bodies has been incomplete, considering that they've been mutilated beyond recognition, so it should probably be replaced with the words carnage or remains. This prayer hall was inside of a school, not a military target, not a weapons store, a school. This is not a surprising low for the Israeli government, but it is a new one, and this should be a wake-up call for all of us. I know many of you believe it is not the duty of a municipality to discuss international affairs, but I am here to say that it is. I'm here to say that it is the moral responsibility of all of us to condemn murder, genocide, and war crimes. When our state and federal representatives have repeatedly failed us, we must now look to our local leaders. It is our job to speak about the unspeakable atrocities happening in our name and under our tax dollars, which just 4 days ago, another $3.5 billion was authorized for more U.S. weaponry. Passing a ceasefire resolution is the least we can do. I urge you to put yourself in the shoes of a civilian with no ties to terrorism on the Gaza Strip. Imagine being forcefully displaced from your home and then herded like cattle, shoveled from place to place while bombs rain overhead. Imagine trying to keep your loved ones together in a so-called safe zone, but losing all of them. Imagine facing the threat of seemingly extinct diseases such as polio, because hospitals, vaccines, and doctors are now a rarity. Imagine seeing your 6-year-old son off to morning prayer and then receiving nothing more than an 18-kilogram bag of human remains and being told that that was all that was left of your son. The people in Palestine do not have to imagine, and that's not an exaggeration, by the way. That is a personal testimony from Hassan Ahmad, whose family was present at the massacre. His son's name was Ali. I think that these people would want any sliver of hope from us, and for us to show that we are against Israeli colonialism and genocide. We can be that hope. Let me be very clear when I say that unless we take direct action against this genocide, then our hands will be stained with the blood of a tentative 40,000, estimated 186,000 Palestinians. No matter our personal opinions about Zionism, colonialism, and Palestine and Israel, I think we can all agree that the murdering, unjustified imprisonment without trial, torture, rape, separation of families, martyring of children, targeting of hospitals, schools, and clean water sources are undeniably shameful acts. The town of Derry is supposed to be a welcoming and accepting community with zero tolerance for hate, bigotry, and racism. Therefore, we must now stand with those values by publicly stating that we will not willingly and blindly go along with our government's decision to continue this genocide. I sincerely hope you review the ceasefire draft and pass it, or an edited version. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah King. I live on Island Pond Road, and I am here to speak in support of the Derry ceasefire resolution. I understand that the conflict between the state of Israel and Palestine may appear to be an inaccessible issue for this council to make a statement on because of the presence of hateful idealism by the powers involved or the conflict's long and misunderstood history, but I assure you that this is not the case. I cannot emphasize enough that this resolution endorses neither Hamas nor the actions of the current government of Israel. Both groups are hateful, violent, and bigoted, but the civilians of this region should not be punished for their actions. We are here to speak for peace and out of concern for the great number of innocent civilians killed, injured, imprisoned, and displaced as collateral of the disproportionate ground invasion in response to the Hamas attack on October 7th. I would implore the Council to research on the history of this situation if it makes them aware to comment. One book I found helpful, which is free to access through the Derry Public Library, is titled Israel/Palestine and is a comprehensive and unbiased account of the history of the region. Additionally, web resources such as the UN have both shorter and longer reads on the history and current situation. But as I have a couple minutes, I will try to outline the broad strokes. In 1922, Palestine and other regions of the Ottoman Empire are placed under British rule by the League of Nations. In 1922 through 1947, Jewish persons, either following the ideal of Zionism or fleeing anti-Semitic persecution, especially during World War II, enter the region of Palestine from Europe with British support. This mass migration, especially Zionist ideals of creating a sovereign Jewish state in the region despite the presence of Palestinian residents, sparks violent tensions. In 1948, a two-state solution was enacted by the UN. However, one of these states then proclaimed independence under the name of Israel and engaged in war with the other one and surrounding nations to claim more territory, causing about half of the Palestinian Arab population to become refugees. In 1967, there is another war in which Israel occupies the remaining areas under Palestinian control, those being Gaza and the West Bank. In 1987, the first Intifada, uprising against Israel, occurred. The Oslo Accords were signed in 1993, ending this conflict through the control of arms release and release of prisoners and greater legitimization of the Palestinian state. Hamas performed an armed takeover of Gaza in 2007. This results in increased hostilities and Israeli blockades on the whole region. Times of both war and peace continue intermittently until the October 7th attacks and Israeli response in Gaza. The importance of this history is undeniable, but is not why we are here today. We are asking for a bilateral ceasefire to end death and violence on both sides. It aims for the release of hostages and prisoners on both sides. The reality is that continuing to be complicit in this conflict is a crime against our common humanity. 12,000 Israelis and over 40,000 Palestinians are dead. All we ask is no more civilians continue to live under the constant threat of mass starvation, bombing, mass displacement, or continue to be held hostage or imprisoned. That no more innocents die because the U.S. government refuses to use its full influence over Israel to bring a peaceful ceasefire and deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. Thank you.
Oh, and is there anybody online?
Madam Chair, no one rising at this time.
Seeing no one rise up.
Yeah, Tony.
This is the one I'm supposed to sit at. Okay, good evening, Mrs. Chairman, councilors. My name is Tony Bruno. I live at 19 Oak Street. I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Cameron, Mark, Finance Officer, Tina, working with me and Ernest, getting all the material, the stuff downstairs, public knowledge about the tax credit for veterans, and it's been the first time in 17 years. You guys, gentlemen, came to a head, and it's a resolution. I'd like to say thank you very much, Brian, Jack, Charlie. Doug's not here today. Dave, Jim, especially you, Mrs. Spencer. You deserve a Bronze Star with the V after 16 months putting up with me, so I'd say that much for you. But I mean, it's a big appreciation because there's 79 of us, and I'm one of them. I've been in the VA and on whatever, doing that. And he always told me to keep my mouth shut. But make a long story short, the average of the, not 79, 80% are over 74 years old and older. And we don't have much longer. And every penny we can get this way and that way helps out. But it's something we had to do and we had to come to. But if we did, this is what we say when the police department, public works department, fire department had problems. The veterans had their back. The way I'm putting this, you people have our back. That means a lot from us people from Vietnam, because we didn't. That was it. That's in there. But I just say, hope everything you give us, I mean, I hope that resolution goes through. But what can I say? Thank you. I just want to say thank you, everybody. I probably miss people, and especially your staff downstairs. They're very polite. Every time I walk in, they say, I know what you're here for, Bruno, so, okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, seeing no one else rise and no one online, I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, there's a motion to close public forum in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? All right, public forum is closed. Thank you. All right, next up, the consent agenda. We have a whole bunch on here. Sure. So we'll do them in two requests from Councilor Foote to separate them. So the first one will be items 2466 to approve the non-public minutes from July 16th and 2467 to approve the public minutes from July 16th.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Webb. On the motion, Councilor Chercello?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foote?
I'll abstain.
Councilor Grassy?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 5-0-1. And then the other items are 2468, which is resolution 2024-048 to apply for and accept grant funding for the Rand Shepherd Hill Barkland Acres Water Extension Project. There will be a public hearing on September 3rd. 24-69, which is resolution 2024-049 to amend a loan agreement with NHDES for water quality improvements, also public hearing on September 3rd. 24-70, resolution 2024-050 to accept a gift from Hero Pups for the police department comfort dog program. There will be a public hearing on September 3rd for that as well. Just those three.
Okay. Move to approve as read by the chair.
Second.
All All right, a motion by Council McEckern, second by Councilor Granessi. On the motion, Councilor Chirichillo?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Granessi?
Yes.
Councilor McEckern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Excellent. All right. Under the chair's report, I thank you for coming out to speak tonight. There had been a request for the council to have the resolution on the agenda this evening, and we, as you can see on the agenda, do not have that. So I want to start by rereading the statement that was made by my predecessor, Councilor Foot, when he was chair, when this conflict had started. I believe this was kind of December, January, when we had a similar but opposite view resolution that we were asked to provide. So I'm going to read that, and then I'll say something else. So the statement read previously was, all of us have sought elective office to represent our citizens towards building a better community. We are distressed at events throughout the world which pit groups against each other, oftentimes based upon differences in culture or belief systems. What we can control locally is how these events impact our fellow citizens and life in Derry. We should strive in all circumstances to avoid blaming or stereotyping those who share a culture or religious beliefs with those from afar who have committed acts of violence or intolerance or have been victims of those acts. We encourage the Derry community to continue to be what we've always been, a welcoming community for all people regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, and to encourage tolerance and understanding of diverse traditions and viewpoints. To further on that, the reason we're not going further with that is this council was elected to make municipal and local decisions. Making specific statements or passing resolutions on international affairs is beyond what any of us were elected to do, and we do not feel comfortable doing such a thing moving forward. So you're welcome to continue to come speak your minds. You have freedom of speech is important to me, so I will not stop that here. But this council does not feel it's our purview to pass any kind of resolution on affairs outside of what we are elected to be overseeing. And on that note, that is all I have under Chair's report this evening, so I will turn it over to Mr. Karen.
Okay, thank you. At the last meeting, you had a presentation on a potential comfort dog program by Chief Fioli. And that program, potential for that program has come together a lot sooner than we anticipated, which is great news. So Chief Fioli will give you an update on where we are. Chief?
Good evening, councilors. As the town administrator indicated, last time I appeared before you, which was really just a month ago, the landscape was a little less clear than it is today with respect to the implementation and beginning our Comfort Dog program. We hadn't yet received a word from Hero Pups, who we partnered with to obtain a Comfort Dog, that they had selected a dog. That has happened. You can see right in the front row, Officer Aaron Sullivan and our new Comfort Dog, Bear. Bear is going to be 16 weeks old soon. That name, I'll let Officer Sullivan explain how we came to that name. But it came together, the landscape is cleared quickly. I didn't think that we were going to get resolution on a funding solution as quickly as we did, but a week or so ago, I got a call from AT&T with some very positive news. And so before I go too far, I want to introduce a couple of people that are really important in this partnership. And that is Laura Barker, the founder of Hero Pups, and she's going to talk a little bit about Hero Pups, who they are, what they do, and what her mission is. Now, before she goes, I just want to say this. When I was doing my due diligence to decide whether or not we'd partner with Hero Pups, I went and met with Laura, and she made a pretty profound statement to me during our first meeting, and it was this. People think we're in the dog business. We're not. We're in the people business. And that's kind of the philosophy that I lead, I try to lead by every day and do my job by every day. We're in the people business. So that fit very well with me. So Laura, take it away.
Well, thank you, Chief. So, yeah, when we initially met, we were hoping that we had a good candidate for Derry. And we wanted to make sure that we had not an okay dog, but a great dog for Derry. So once we were working with Bear, he didn't have a name at the time, but as we worked with him, it was clear that this is where he's supposed to be. And then we got to work with Officer Sullivan, and she was absolutely going to be the best handler ever. So we are very thrilled to bring Bear in. Bear is actually a rescue. He was born with us, so we have known him his whole life. So what our primary thing that we do at Hero Pups is we train service dogs for veterans and first responders. Most of our dogs go out as psychiatric service dogs. And then you have dogs like Bear. Bear would not be a good service dog because he loves everybody. And so let's work on what it is that he's good at, and he can help the people within the community and be Derry's new comfort dog. So we're very excited that we were able to have a dog that was going to fit the role so quickly. But we weren't sure we wanted to be 100%. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And the next gentleman I'd like to introduce is Ryan Clark from AT&T, External Affairs Director for New Hampshire. Ryan?
Thanks, Chief. Good evening, everybody. I've been working with AT&T since about 2018, and that's really when we started our FirstNet program. And that's really designed at supporting public safety and providing them communications in any situation they need with a variety of resources. Since 2018, we've learned a lot about working with public safety, and we've realized that we have additional resources that we can provide them with. And for the last few years, we've been working very closely with Hero Pups, which is an extraordinary organization and do a lot of great work for the communities. We're just thrilled to be able to provide and be the sponsor for Bear and for this great asset for the Derry community, who have been a long-time supporter of FirstNet as well. We're just thrilled. This will be the fourth comfort dog we've supported, and each one has made a significant impact on those communities. So we're excited to see Bear grow into the new role, literally, and we're just excited to be able to partner with Derry and continue to support public safety. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So, Officer Sullivan, if you would mind, I'll put you on the spot. Just talk a little bit about how Bear's name came to be. You may know that, you may have seen on social media, we appeal to the community to help us name the comfort dog. She'll explain how we got there.
So we definitely wanted this name to come from the community. It's going to be a community dog. It's here for the officers. It's going to be at a lot of our events. We wanted something kid-friendly, easy for kids to say. My 2-year-old is already screaming, "Bear, Bear," throughout the house, so it's pretty fun. We think of Bear as a big teddy bear. When we brought him to National Night Out, it was the first time the community got to meet him, so they got to see his kind of goofy ways, his ears, and a lot of them said it reminded them of a teddy bear, someone that would provide comfort, support, love. So there was actually a lot of votes for Bear. Very random, I thought. But that's ultimately how we came to that decision. Big little teddy bear, just a little goofball.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are any questions from the council, we'll be happy to entertain them. And if either for Hero Pups or AT&T FirstNet, and nothing?
I just have one question.
Yes.
Can I please go say hi?
Please come on down.
All right, anybody else have questions? Go for it.
Just bring him over here.
Let's have the vet tech check him out.
Yeah.
Chief, I'm assuming, oh, I'm sorry, Charlie.
I relate, oh,
Oh, no, I was gonna say,
Please.
so I was not here last meeting. I was at my daughter's softball game. So, unrelated, I got two puppies coming this weekend, my own comfort dogs, so. My wife's very tolerant of it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the guy.
I understand it'll be about another 4 or 5 months before Bear becomes a part of the department?
So it's quite a long training process. We're at the very beginning. The training process is both for Bear and for Officer Sullivan. They'll become certified with what they need to do and perform in the community. And what's it called? Good citizen? Good citizen?
Yeah.
That's Selena, the lead trainer from Hero Pups. Thank you for coming, Selena. And she's really going to be an integral part of the training process. And it really takes many months to go through and work through that process. So I don't expect we will see Bear anytime we want at a public event because Hero Pups will bring him.
Right.
We won't actually take delivery and ownership and possession for many months down the road.
So I assume, I'm sorry,
No, that was,
so I assume the dog's gonna live with Officer Sullivan and the family?
When,
Is that
when we do
when-
take,
when it-
yes,
training's
when we
fully
do
done?
take custody of Bear, he will be going home with Officer Sullivan back and forth each day.
And when you said public events, we'll be seeing you guys at Derry Fest then with the dog coming up in September?
That's the plan. Yes,
Because I know you guys have a
Yes.
booth there, so. Cool. All
Yep.
right. Thank you very much.
yes.
So as far as the comfort dog, so this will be a community dog, not just for the police department, right? So it'll be all inclusive.
It'll be for whatever need presents before the community.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to participate.
All right.
Any other questions?
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
Chief, again, at the last meeting, I stressed Comfort Dog is great, and I just want to say thank you to Hero Pups, thank you to Officer Sullivan, thank you to Bear, and definitely thank you to AT&T FirstNet for sponsoring it. It's huge for Derry. Thank you.
I just want to echo that, but
Thank you.
thank you for everybody that made this happen. I think again, like Councilor Vanessi said, a great addition. And yes, why don't you bring the dog around so we can see her before we move on? I'm not the only one that wanted to say hi, but
and also thank you to and also thank you to Officer Sullivan, because
You've already met him.
I understand the amount of hard work and training that goes involved in bringing it to be a certified comfort dog.
Yes, yep. So we've got our work cut out for us. We're up to the challenge, and we look forward to it.
So how, curiosity why the dog's being walked around, how is this dog going to interact or not interact with the two other dogs we have? Do they?
We will
do
not,
they
probably,
do
we're
they
not going to allow them to interact.
No, I'm just, it's a curiosity, right? So, we have a area for the other two dogs, the drug dogs,
Yep.
right? There's a fenced-in area at the police station. Is there gonna be like another one?
So
that
when
needs to
when
be
those
built for
officers
Bear,
are
or, I
working,
mean, I'm assuming they don't
Yeah.
commingle.
no, they won't mingle. But when those officers are working, those dogs are in their cruiser or with the officer, pretty much. They're not ever left unattended for the most part.
All right. That was more of a curiosity question, because I know we have quote-unquote police dogs and a comfort dog. I wouldn't imagine them commingling, but if we needed dual
Two totally
facilities-
different missions. I don't see
Yeah,
them
it's
getting
like
together.
I just didn't know
police
if we
officers
needed
and
dual
firefighters.
facilities or something.
I have a quick question.
yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question would be, if people wanted to donate, do we have anything set up for people to donate?
I recently submitted a staff report to the town administrator. I think you'll see it next meeting.
Okay.
It is to create a donation account for the Comfort Dog program.
How about also for the for Latios too, right?
We already have done that, yes.
Oh, that's already established. Okay. Will that be on the website? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you want to do a picture with Lawless? Okay. All right, pausing for a quick picture. Where would you like us to go, Owen? Over here?
Where do you need us, Owen?
Your dog lover.
I'm married to the crazy dog lady.
I think you are, huh?
Where do you?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's random noises.
I think it's sleeping time for him now.
Is there anything else I might ask or answer?
I don't think so. Any more questions?
We're good.
No. Thank you.
I think Dave has a question.
Oh, Dave has a question, sorry.
Before the chief leaves, again, I express my appreciation to him and his staff for working hard to fill the ranks. We're almost, maybe still a full complement,
We're one shy right now.
one shy. So because our levels are where we plan to be, the chief actually is able to put a second SRO in the 5 through 8 grades with Derry School District. We typically have one, we have two at Pinkerton, we typically have one with Derry School District, but now the chief has finalized plans to put a second SRO, which is great for our community. So
So one will be
congratulations.
assigned full-time to one school and vice versa?
Yeah, the plan is there'll be one officer at the 7th and 8th grade school, which is Hood, and one officer at the 5th and 6th grade school, which is West Running Brook. Yep. So when the school opens this fall, we'll have a total of 4 school resource officers, 2 at the high school and 2 at the school district.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief.
He's very cute. Back over to you.
I want to give you an update on one of the town council goals, which is to extend sewer to Route 28 South, and Owen will pull up the PowerPoint for us. Should be a slideshow icon, a little bit to your right, Owen.
Got it. Over to the right.
No, to your left.
Right. Present in Teams. Oh. Usually it's, slideshow.
There you
Right
go.
there. There we go. From the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, so this has been a council goal for a number of years. It is your council goal number 3 for FY25, and it's to extend sewer down Route 28 South. It would extend the sewer. Currently, it terminates around Berry Road on Route 28. As you can see, there's going to be about 3,600 feet of gravity sewer line. There'll be some pressure line with a pump station based upon the topography. And once that project is completed, it'll make sewer available to about 105 acres of commercially zoned property. And we have a map there. To the top of the map is the intersection of Berry and Rockingham, Route 28. And it'll proceed southerly in the South Range area, Second Carson. I'm not quite sure where it's going to land at this point, but in the vicinity of Ryan Hill. Yeah, this project was identified in the 2020 master plan to extend municipal utilities to the area. The water line's already been installed when the council authorized us to participate in the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Project. Just for a refresher, that's a project which delivers Manchester water to communities south of us, and Derry was a key player in that project since they use our infrastructure to convey that water. And so the water line's been installed, and this particular project has been a town council priority since 2020. It was originally estimated at just over $4 million, and like any other public works projects these days, the cost has ballooned on us. It's about 6.45, and we expect that the cost will be about 6.7 by the time we have project implementation. Working primarily through Congressman Pappas's office with support from Senator Shaheen, we were able to receive an EPA grant in the amount of $3.2 million, which at that point was about 80% of the project cost. So as you can see, we had a funding gap to fill, and that's been filled in 2 ways. Working with Senator Birdsell a couple of years ago, the legislature passed and the governor signed Senate Bill 87, which allows us during that project, as I spoke of, with the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnection Project, the town receives $1 per every 100 cubic feet of water wheeled through Derry. The statute from SB 87 was amended to allow us to redirect 50% of that to economic development. More recently this year, again, Senator Birdsell worked with us to pass, and the governor recently signed in the last couple of weeks, Senate Bill 589. And what that does, it places a 15% surcharge on out-of-town wastewater customers to support economic development. There was existing law which allowed water districts to apply a surcharge, and that essentially recognizes the host community's investment in its utilities. And so this law extended that option to wastewater systems. Again, looking at the project costs, 6.7 is estimated. There'll be 3.2 from the EPA. We currently have about $350,000 in wheeling revenues, which we accrued over the last 3 years. So the amount to be bonded, we estimate it will be about $3.15 million. And there's really, we think there will be two, hopefully there'll be two options. This option is definitely available, is through the New Hampshire Municipal Bond Bank. The current 20-year rate's at 3.4%. We anticipate receiving, and again, these revenue estimates are extremely conservative. We estimate receiving about $125,000 from the wheeling revenues for the water side. We anticipate receiving about $42,000 on the wastewater surcharge. And we do know there's a significant development that's going to occur in Londonderry, which will add about $15,000 to that. And again, very conservative. So when you look at all those numbers under this scenario, we expect that the first 9 years, it'll be at a deficit position of about $433,000. However, the overall cash flow through the entire length of the 20-year project is about $281,000. And again, these projections do not include any additional revenues from utilities or property taxes generated by new development. So these revenue streams are extremely conservative. And we have this will essentially, we'll put it in tablet form. You can see there's no state aid. So through the 20-year window, we expect there'll be just over $3 million in wheeling revenues. There'll be about $1.5 million in wastewater surcharge. And you can see the surplus funds available will be $281,000. The second bond scenario is through the Department of Environmental Services, a revolving loan fund. Mike and Tom are cautiously optimistic, however, this is not guaranteed. What this would do is it's a lower interest rate at 2.8% currently, but also there's a 20% principal forgiveness. So the first four bullets are the same on the revenue side for local revenues. However, this project under this financing scenario would have a 4-year cash flow deficit of $109,000 with $47,000 in year one. It would have an overall cash flow positive of $1.1 million. And again, there's no new developments included in these projections. So looking at the, if you recall back at the other table, this shows there's a state aid grant. Essentially, that's a principal forgiveness of about $647,000. The wheeling revenues and wastewater surcharge are the same. So the surplus funds will be available at $1.1 million. So the way it would work out is as soon as the deficit is paid back on the cash flow basis, then the council will have a surplus amount of money in both the water wheeling revenue and the wastewater surcharge for any other economic development projects. Now, fortunately, since this is a congressionally directed appropriation, the EPA considers this money to be 0-year funding, which means it's not tied to the money's available now, but there's not a deadline in which we have to spend it. And so what we need to do is coordinate our efforts with the rest of the projects we have in town. Mike did a summary for us, and I'll segue into the staff report now for a minute, is that there's going to be about $100 million in public works infrastructure in this town in the next 3 or 4 years. That takes a lot of time and coordination. So what we envision, like for this year, we have 3 culvert projects moving forward, which the last one should be completed around the end of November. We're coordinating with Liberty Utilities for gas lines on Linloo Drive. The Danforth Circle resurfacing is happening as we speak, and final paving is during the day tomorrow, so whoever's watching the meeting, please try to avoid the traffic circle. It's going to be a little busy tomorrow, but by Thursday, it'll be a major improvement as far as the surface in that area. We also, Public Works is also working on the Emerald Drive Water Main Phase 1. That's between Scobie and Opal Drive, and that'll be completed by the end of 2024 in November. Moving into the next construction season, The council may recall you approved a $6 million bond for some water extensions, Shepherd Hill Water Extension. Phase X will be starting next year. And then we have the Exit 4A Contract B, which is the reconstruction of a lot of roads in Derry on North High Street, on Folsom, a portion of Shenito, intersections with Pinkerton. And that contract bids will be open this Thursday. So they may do some preliminary work this fall, but a lot of the intense construction will occur next spring. Emerald Drive Water Phase 2 will be next year as well. And then jumping into the 2026 construction season, we'll have Exit 4A Contract C, which will take off just east of the Shenito and Pinkerton Street intersection all the way down to 102. Ranch Shepherd, there's 2 more phases, Phase Y and Phase Z, happening during that time. We have this project as well. And also, the governor signed Senate Bill 393 this year, which provides some additional chemical feed facilities and also design to expand the regional water project, which we're a party of, from 1 million gallons per day to 3.1 million gallons per day. And that's going to involve some construction in Derry as well. And that's going to happen probably in 2026 and 2027. So it's our, when you can go to the timeline now, so we anticipate that we'll be going through design and permitting for this project starting at the end of this year, beginning of next year, bidding it in 2027, and construction in 27, 28. And just be mindful is that between now and then, the town will continue to accumulate revenues both from the wastewater surcharge and from the wheeling revenues. So that'll cover any inflationary impacts which may occur between now and then. And, you know, we've been speaking with Bev on this, and Bev has been reaching out with the property owners to make sure that we have development which is interested in the area once the sewer comes online. Now, in a perfect world, if somebody had walked in our door tomorrow and said they've got a massive development there planned soon, then we'll go back and look at reprioritizing. But at this point, it appears that the schedule will be for this project will be design in 25 and 26 and construction in 27. So we just wanted to make sure the council was aware of that, knowing that was one of your council goals for this year.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Just a couple more general updates. As if you've been driven by Central Fire Station, they started going vertical with the steel. They're really moving along, so that project is going well. Happy to announce that the police department was notified that the Stanton Foundation has approved the grant for the second police dog. And so that's supposed to be coming online with a new hire in January 1st. And you may recall is that we submitted a congressionally directed appropriation to Senator Shaheen it's a joint project actually with Londonderry and Wyndham Police Departments for updated record management system. Well, it's passed another milestone. There's several votes remaining, but it's still alive, so we're very happy about that. The council approved a couple of years ago the purchase of a conservation easement on 82 English Range Road, and that actually closing should be this coming week. So that'll be wrapped up, and Mike Fowler has spearheaded a project for a third-party agreement for energy. We partnered with the school district to get a much better rate, and so we've just signed an agreement for Constellation New Energy to provide energy to town and school facilities until fall of 2025 at a rate of 9.61 cents per kilowatt hour. And when the landfill project comes on at the end of that rate will drop to 6.8%. And finally, as you know, this is a reval year. We update the values every 2 years to make sure that people are not overpaying and other people are paying their fair share. The notices went out this week, and again, this is my biannual plea. Please do not take your assessment and multiply it by the current tax rate. Because as the amount of taxable property you have in town increases, your tax rate decreases. So I'll be providing this reminder for the next 4 or 5 meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Dave yet?
Thanks, ma'am. Quick question. The sewer, any idea how far on Ryan's Hill the plan is?
Yeah, in general, the furthest extent south would be around where Fody's Tavern is at the top of the hill. So basically, if you can imagine, that's our point of highest gravity. It'll go down to the low point, and then we'll have a pump station, pump it back up to around the Robert Frost Farm area.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. We have one public hearing this evening, item number 2462, ordinance 2024-002 to amend the zoning ordinance, Article 7, floodplain development district. George Sewer is presenting. Hello.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the council. I think this should be an easy one. I hopefully had two things I can do tonight on my last council meeting for working for the town will be tonight, so these are good ones, I think. Nothing controversial.
Don't assume it's going to be easy. It's your last meeting, George.
I just jinxed myself, right, Jim? For the record, Madam Chairman, George Sears, Planning Director, you have a zoning amendment before you that was approved by the planning board back in June. Real quick summary, every 10 years, the Office of State Planning and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, reviews our Derry zoning ordinance related to the floodplain insurance program. So based on the handout, and we haven't changed anything, they made some recommendations. They're mostly minor edits and editorial changes, and if you see your highlight, they've added some definitions. You may have the yellow version that's highlighted, and then they deleted some definitions that are in red. But this does not change anything substantial. What this does is it keeps us in compliance with the National Floodplain Program. So folks that have wetlands or in their floodplain in their properties, if there's ever a disaster or a flood, they can continue to apply for flood insurance. So this keeps us current. It keeps us in compliance with the federal government and FEMA. So staff would recommend approval of that.
Thank you. So this is a public hearing, so is there a motion to?
Motion to open the public hearing, Madam Chair?
Second.
Motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Ganesi to open public hearing. On the motion, Councilor Cherichello?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Ganesi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0, so public hearing is open if anyone would like to speak to this.
Owen?
Seeing none, rise online, Madam Chair.
Seeing none rise internally, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, please.
Second.
All right, motion to close by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Ganesi. On the motion, Councilor Cherichello?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Ganesi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, 6-0. Public hearing is now closed. Councilors, do you have any questions? Yes, Councilor Webb.
Congratulations on 14 more days to go.
Yes, thank you, Jack. 14, Jack. He gave a heads up this morning. We chatted, so yeah, thank you, Jack. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah,
again,
14 days.
Yeah, and again, thank you for your 40 years of commitment to this community. I know that it takes, to stay with an organization that long, particularly with the ups and downs that we've seen, takes passion and commitment, and thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a challenging and very rewarding career, and I've enjoyed working here, and the town councils over the years, and the administration has been very supportive of the planning board, so I'll miss it, but I'm looking forward to retirement and try some other things, so thank you very much.
Councilor Cherichello?
Yes, I was going to echo in. I was fortunate enough to be on the planning board a few years, so working with George was a pleasure. The nice thing about it is when you retire, we could actually appoint you as a planning board member.
Aaron asked me
So you
that,
may
too.
not be off the hook.
You know where I live, so, thank you, Brian. Thank you,
All
Charlie.
right, so, Madam Chair, I was just going to say in regarding to the presentation and the floodplain development, I'm the liaison to the planning board. The planning board worked hard with all the town departments and everything, and it brings it up to standard. So I think it's a no-brainer for this.
Agreed.
If there are no other questions, I'll be happy to read the resolution, and we'll ease George into his
I have one more to come up later.
13 days.
Come back, so.
We'll ease him into, well, okay, maybe that's our opportunity to nail him then, huh?
Wait till tomorrow night.
All right. Ordinance number 2024-002, amend Article 7, floodplain development district. Whereas Section 5.1 of the town charter designates the town council as the governing and legislative body of the town, and pursuant to Section 6.1, the council shall legislate by ordinance. And whereas the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development, along with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, periodically reviews the zoning ordinance floodplain development regulations, and Whereas some minor adjustments are required to maintain the town's compliance with the National Floodplain Insurance Program, and whereas adoption of these changes will allow property owners the option to continue to participate in the program, now therefore the town of Derry ordains the Derry zoning ordinance is hereby amended as follows. To amend Article 7 Floodplain Development District as per the attached. This ordinance shall take effect 30 days after its adoption, adopted 8/13/24.
Second.
Motion by Counselor McEachern, second by Counselor Ganesi. On the motion, Counselor Chercello?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEachern?
Since I have one more to go that I can actually say no to, George, I'll say yes to this one.
All right, and the
So,
chair
thank-
votes yes without any cheek.
Thank
Motion
you very
passes
much.
6-0.
Thank you very much. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right, on to new business. Agenda item 24-71, resolution 2024-041 to approve increases to the service-connected total disabled veterans credits program. Town Administrator Dave Karen presenting.
Thank you. This issue was the town council's priority goal this year. And so, as you recall, we had a presentation, a discussion back in July about the different major programs that the town offers. And we looked at all three of them, and just for recollection, the elderly exemption program is income-based. And the council recognized the impact upon inflation. So a couple of years ago, the council adjusted the income eligibility guidelines. So hopefully, very few people would fall off the program because their income was increasing when our guidelines were not. And then last year, the council looked at the credit for the veterans, which is just a discount off their tax bill. It's not off their assessment. And they increased that from $500 to $550. So the last remaining major program to look at was the total service-connected disability, of which we have 79 veterans who are eligible for 2024. And after reviewing it with the council and with the chair, the recommendation is to increase that from $2,000 to $2,400 beginning in 2024. Now, to determine essentially our market competitiveness, if you will, we typically look at results for the 10 largest communities, of which Derry is number 4 in the state, and communities abutting Derry. And the average award in this area for the 10 largest communities is $2,500, and our communities abutting Derry is $3,000. So the $2,400 gets us closest to our peer communities. So we would recommend that the council consider and adopt resolution number 2024-041.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Dave?
I think we've worked on
Charlie?
this significantly.
Yes.
Ready to rock and roll.
All right.
I'm not seeing any questions. If the council doesn't mind, I'll be happy to read the resolution. Oh, Charlie had a question.
Actually, just a comment. So this is definitely long overdue. The veterans do deserve this. Thank you for the sacrifices that they've given for us. Moving forward next year, I hope we can take another close look again at the elderly exemptions. That was one of my goals. I wasn't here last meeting. I know you guys talked about it, but they're both very important classification of citizens here that we have that we need to kind of address and look after. So I do wholeheartedly support this effort. So next year, I just ask that we try to maybe look again.
I agree. I think I would like us moving forward to be more front of mind in looking at these rather than reactionary. And so in future years, I would like this to be something we talk about, and not to say every year there's going to be something. Some years are going to be leaner than others, but to at least know and keep it front of mind for future.
I also agree, Madam Chair. Yeah. And echo what Charlie Foot said and what you said.
Okay. And before I read the resolution, just an FYI on the minimizing the numbers, a future resolution possible. You and I had that discussion offline, and we talked to the chair about the implementation of making sure we don't go below the numbers and reallocating if the numbers alter. I don't know if you want to handle that in a resolution or something else.
Yeah, very quickly, what Councilman McEachern is talking about is that every year we budget a certain amount of dollars for veterans credits. And so as some veterans move out of town, sell their homes, whatever, the number may decrease, which means the town doesn't have to raise as much money. So the thought process was whatever our number is for FY '25 for the 2024 tax rate is to have that as a floor. And if if the number of veterans decreases, there are some additional dollars to allocate to the other veterans. And so this may be an annual process whereby you go through and you actually adjust the amount available to both the veterans and the service-connected total disability veterans.
Councilor Webb?
I just want to agree with that. I like the way the funding came up for this. But also, I think that credits in general, we should look at and do our due diligence on an annual basis. Yeah.
Madam Chair, if there are no other questions, then, okay. I would like to read Resolution 2024-041 to increase the tax credit for the service-connected total and permanently disabled. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter designates the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, and as such is empowered to adopt resolutions and ordinances, including the appropriation of funds. And whereas the town has previously adopted RSA 7235, which allows towns to provide a property tax credit qualifying property owners eligible for the service-connected total and permanently disabled, whereas the Town Council deems it necessary to adjust the amount of credit available to these veterans. Now therefore be it resolved in council that the Town Council hereby increases the tax credit for property owners eligible for the service-connected total and permanent disability to $2,400. I would assume that's per individual. Resolution shall take effect April 1st, 2024.
That date's not right. April 1st, 2024 is passed. We'll update that on the final one.
So shall take effect August 13th, 2024?
No, the assessment year starts April 1st.
Okay.
So you want it
So it
retroactive?
would be retroactive, or this is
Retroactive
2025?
April 1st,
Okay.
24.
I just like, wait a
Then
minute.
I will
Okay.
keep with April 1st, 2024, Madam Clerk.
All right. Motion by Council McEachern, second by Councilor Foote. Is that you? All right, on the motion, Council Churchill. Oh, sorry. Council Churchill?
Yes.
Council Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foote?
Yes, and thank you, Madam Chair and Town Administrator and CFO for working on this for them. Thank you very much for all the input.
Councilor Grassi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes 6-0. Okay. Okay, moving on. We got a lot of these tonight. Item 2472, Resolution 2024-042, to authorize the restoration of involuntarily merged lots. Planning Director George Seurer is presenting again.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. And for the record, George Seurer, Planning Director. Another one, this is called a voluntary merger of lots. We had a request from the owners of 7 True Avenue, which is off of East Derry Road. Back in 2000, the state law changed to that the governing body, which is the town council, has to restore lots that were involuntarily merged by the assessing department many years ago. So the law changed, so anybody has lots prior to that time can come back and ask that those lots be put back to what they were prior to 2000. So you have a subdivision plan. There were 2 lots dating back to 1959 and then amended in 1973 at 7 True Ave. There's a house lot currently on the lot. If you see the map on the back page, we went through the assessing records. We worked with Mark Johnson-owski. They're also recommending approval. So what this will do is restore the lot back to 1 lot, which is shown as 9 and 10. Again, the state law changed, so it's mandatory that communities have to put the lots back to what they were prior to 2010. Planning Board approved this back in June, so staff would recommend approval. The new owner, Doug Martin's in the audience if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Seeing no questions, I'll be happy to read the resolution. Resolution 2024-042 to authorize restoration of an involuntarily merged lot. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the legislative and governing body of the town, whereas the town is required to comply with state statutes, whereas RSA 67439AA requires the town to allow lots previously merged by community without the consent of the owner an opportunity upon request to restore the properties back to their original individual lots, whereas the lots under consideration meet all applicable statutory requirements. Now therefore be resolved in council that pursuant to RSA 67439AA, the restoration of parcel 38079 and parcel 38079-001 back to its pre-involuntary merge status is hereby approved. Should be adopted August 13th, 2024.
Second.
All right, motion by Counselor McEckern, second by Counselor Ganesi. On the motion, Counselor Chercello?
Yes.
Counselor Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Ganesi?
Yes.
Counselor McEckern?
George's last motion, do I want to give him a pass?
Come on, Jim, I've known you the
All right,
longest.
George, we'll give you a pass.
And
Say yes.
Chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you,
George, if you
Counsel.
could stay for a moment. We just want to take a moment to say thank you for all your years of hard work. And so I'm going to start with the long, lengthy proclamation to read for you.
Thank you.
So whereas George Seuras attended the University of Rhode Island, graduating with a degree in urban affairs and community planning, and whereas on June 13th, 1984, George became the town of Derry's first town planner, and whereas in his 40 years of service, George has provided invaluable leadership and guidance on many significant projects and challenges the town of Derry has faced, such as the Exit 4A project, revitalizing Derry downtown, building the new Derry Municipal Center, and the Derry Rail Trail. And whereas in addition to serving as planning director, he is also a member of the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission Technical Advisory Committee, MTA CART Advisory Committee, the Robert Frost Scenic Byway Council, Alexandra Eastman Foundation Board of Directors, Regional Economic Development Center Board of Directors, and the St. George Greek Orthodox Cathedral Board of Directors. And whereas in 2016, George was the recipient of the first James W. Tethers Award for Professional Planners, and most recently he was presented with the Jeffrey Taylor Lifetime Achievement Award at the New Hampshire Planners Association Conference. And whereas George's defining focus has been building cooperative business relationships with the Chamber of Commerce and other local and regional municipalities while promoting customer service and a business-friendly environment. And now, therefore, we, the Derry Town Council, do hereby express our sincere appreciation and gratitude for your dedicated and loyal commitment to the town of Derry for 40 years. We congratulate you on your leadership and professional accomplishments. We wish you the best in your retirement, and you truly deserve it.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. Thank you, everybody.
And we got you a small token of appreciation.
Oh. That's my favorite, Dave. That's great. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, George, there's no rockers on it, buddy.
Yeah, we don't want you to fall out of it, so no rocker.
No what?
Rockers.
Oh.
Thank you
Madam Chair, I just want to say a couple words if you don't mind, because there was a couple of projects you mentioned, but there's also many, many more projects that we dealt with on planning. The Victory Supermarket, the movie theater we did, the Derry Medical Center, all of that stuff. It was tremendous being a part of that with you, George. And I just want to know, how much did you bet Ross Moldoff that he retired before you? So was there a bet on that?
It's ironic, Brian. He invited me to lunch today. I had lunch with him, so I beat him by 6 months, I think.
right,
So
very
yeah, we
good.
took bets, but yeah, he and I are the two longest. You don't see that anymore, but yeah, he and Bev knows him from Salem, but
Yeah.
So it's good. We were good to kind of catch up on stories.
That's
political
good.
and
That's
stuff,
good.
so
Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks, George.
Thanks,
I
Dave,
remember-
Jim, Jack, Dave, Marin. Thank you. Do you want me to sit there? Okay.
No.
All right.
We get to stand behind the old guy. You guys got it.
It's a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. Right. Okay, thank you.
So George, yeah. So I've had the privilege of knowing George pretty much since I got into town. You and I go back in the early 90s. You might have been 8 years or so on the job when I first started on the planning board, so we go back 92 to now, so I've had the privilege and the honor of working with George for well over 30 years. Spent almost all that time on the planning board, probably about 27 or so years between council liaison and actually member of the board, and it's been an honor serving with you. We've had a lot of fun. Brian mentioned multiple projects. The one that stands out in my mind is the growth management ordinance that you and I worked on, along with several other people, obviously, which was the first of its kind legislation in the state of New Hampshire, which really set the roadmap for the stability of Derry and its tax rate and the growth in Derry. So I can't say enough positive things about working with you. It is outside, and we're friends outside of here, so I look forward to still seeing you and getting together and telling old war stories. But thank you very much. That's all. I don't know what else to say, but it's been an honor and a privilege working with you, George.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jim. I'm a lost word, so I chat a lot, so this is ironic that I can't say anything. But again, I've already said, I really appreciate everyone's support over the years. When I started here, we had a Board of Selectmen, town meeting, form of government. We had mayors, interim administrators. Somebody asked me today, I think I've had 15 or 20, maybe Dave, well, Sheila may know the number, Sheila Bodenrader, but I think I had 15 to 20 bosses between mayors, administrators, selectmen, interim police chief, interim fire chief, current administrators. That, really? Okay, so. 24. Yeah, thank you, Dave. So, I've seen the town grow, and I've been very fortunate that the councils in the past have been supportive of planning. They've never said no when we ask for stuff to fund things or do projects. So, thank you. This is, so it's I'm excited. I'm going to move on and do some other things, but I want to just again thank everybody. So, and the staff, and yeah, I know that. I know there's 2 vacancies. I would be remiss, I want to say publicly for the record, I just want to thank my coworkers over the years, from the way back to the current group I work with, particularly on the 2nd floor, 3rd floor, but the police, fire, public works, planning. I want to reach out to James Degnan, Conservation Commission. I hope I didn't forget anybody, the health officer, but that technical review committee that we set up many years ago, it's been a team effort across the board, so without them, it's successful with their help, so it made me look good too, but I just want to thank all my coworkers as well, so thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, George.
All right, moving along. We have a lot tonight. Next one is Agenda Item 2473, Resolution 2024-043, to accept a gift from Matt Lazaro to benefit the skate park at Alexander Carr Park. Director of Public Works, Mike Fowler, presenting. We got everybody here tonight.
All right, this will be a tough act to follow from the previous presentation by George, but pretty straightforward tonight. So as everybody's aware, skate park's been open for roughly 2 years. Been a lot of use, and obviously been just very well received by the users of the park. Kim Walsh, our Parks and Recreation Director, was approached by resident Matt Lazaro, who does welding by trade, and put the idea out of building a repair station so that adults and youth, if they had an issue with maybe one of their wheels or something that was on their board, they could come up to the steel structure, to be on a concrete pad. It would have powder coated, it would be painted nicely, and there'd be tools that you could go in, whether or not it's a flathead screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver attached to it, that you could go ahead and do the repair on the fly. So great amenity for those. We would pick a location that would be suitable and out of the way, but close enough that it could be used by those in the park. So just wanted to note that Matt came out of his own to present this to Kim, and we thought it was a great idea. but obviously we had to come to town council to approve or to obtain approval for that gift. He also is getting some subcontracted work donated from other companies, EVG Performance, DTB Fabrication, and Barbell Industries LLC. So it's a team effort. The aggregate value of the donated labor and materials is $2,365, thus triggering the town council's action to accept this gift. With no further reservation, I pass it over to town council for an affirmative vote.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Nope. Seeing no questions, Madam Chair, I'd like to read resolution number 2024-043 to accept the gift from Matt Lazario to benefit the skate park at Alexander Carr Park. Whereas RSA 3195E authorizes the council to accept gifts other than money to be used at any public purpose, and whereas Matt Lazario has graciously offered to manufacture and install a skateboard repair station at Alexander Carr Park, and whereas the repair station will support the use of the skate park, and whereas the gift is valued at $2,365, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to accept the skateboard repair station for Alexander Carr Park from Matt the welder. The resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage, adopted August 13th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Chiarcello. On the motion, Counsel Chiarcello?
Yes.
Counsel Webb?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Next up is 2474, Resolution 2024-044, to enter into utility agreement with NHDOT for the Exit 4A Corridor Project. Mike Fowler presenting again.
All right. This one's a little bit larger of dollar value magnitude, but as David mentioned earlier, New Hampshire DOT has the Exit 4A Contract B currently out to bid. They started with the base contract in May of 2024, but there were some other loose ends that needed to be worked out. Tom Carrier and I have spent an extensive amount of time working with our engineering consultant, Underwood. We'd come to town council, I believe back in, it was March, to get an approval of about $150,000 worth of design funds to identify locations where a new drain or some other feature as part of the Exit 4A project was going to conflict with an existing water main or an existing sewer main. So pretty intricate process to try to figure out what's new versus what can be relocated. Long story short, we went through this process, and the state will pay for anything that they consider participating. And what that means is if it's a state facility or part of the contract that's going to force the removal or the relocation, DOT will pay for it. If it's something that we had requested because of a certain method that we maybe wanted water or sewer main to be installed, or maybe an added enhancement that wasn't there before, that's what they call non-participating. So when this was all said and done, we worked some numbers out with the state. There will be a value of $1.83 million of new water and sewer mains in the Exit 4A Contract B corridor. Those will all be town infrastructure. There'll be new ductile iron water main services, mostly in the area there. And the town is only going to be on the hook for $60,546 as non-participating. So what they're basically telling you is there's going to be about $1.75 million worth of project funds that'll be incorporated into the contract that will be town assets in the end. So basically we're leveraging probably on the order of about 40-1 here, which is a great deal for the town of Derry. So what's being asked tonight is that the town council give the town administrator permission to sign a utility agreement. This is a requirement of the state for them to proceed. What will happen from here is that the bids will be open on on August 15th, and with that, there'll be some determination. There's some steps that need to be taken at the governor and council level to approve, and they'll review the bids. But this utility agreement is a key facet for the project to move forward, as all these items will be incorporated into the bid, and whoever is the low bidder and approved by the state will incorporate that into their work plan. And when the project's done, all those improvements will be accomplished at a very small cost to the town of Derry.
Thank you. Any questions on this one?
As always, an outstanding job by Mike and Tom and the team over there. So thank you very much, Mike, for the due diligence and the financials. As there are no questions, Madam Chair, I'll read resolution number 2024-44 to enter a utility agreement with NHDOT for the Exit 4A project. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, whereas the town is partnered with NHDOT, the Town of Londonderry, on the Exit 4A project, which includes extensive road improvements in Derry, whereas the town operates and maintains water, wastewater utilities in Derry, including in the project area, and whereas the resolution of conflicts between the utilities and the Exit 4A corridor design were identified pursuant to Resolution 2024-011, and whereas NHDOT has agreed to fund most of the work necessary to resolve these conflicts due to de minimis amount of funding from the town's water and wastewater budget, and whereas utility agreement between the town and NHDOT is required for this work to proceed, now therefore be resolved that the town administrator is hereby authorized to sign the utility agreement with NHDOT, which will govern execution of this work. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage, adopted August 13th, 2024.
Second.
All right, motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Cherichello. On the motion, Counsel Cherichello?
Yes.
Counsel Webb?
Yes.
Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yep.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 2475, Resolution 2024-045, transfer funds for the transfer station solar project. Chief Financial Officer Mark Fleischer presenting. Good evening.
Good evening. Everybody hear me okay? So
Gotcha.
regarding the transfer of the funds for the transfer station project, in 2018, a payment was made from the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund to finance a solar project located at the transfer station. The solar array provides power to the transfer station, highway garage, vehicle maintenance building, and wastewater facility. The total cost of the loan was $226,240 and was to be repaid to the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund at 3% interest over 10 years. So via Resolution 2024-045, we are seeking approval to transfer the annual amount of $26,522.23 to the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund payable from various public works activity centers. So that is it. Questions?
Questions?
Very straightforward financial things that we go over at FinCom. So Mark, thank you again for all the work you and the staff do, and I know you got a couple others coming up, and, you know, having reviewed them all with the team, thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 2024-045, transfer of funds for the transfer station solar project, whereas Section 9.7 of the Town Charter empowers the Town Council to transfer any unencumbered appropriation balance, and whereas the Town Council approved the use of the Public Works Capital Reserve Fund to fund the construction of the solar array at the transfer station, and whereas a year-end transfer is required for the annual reimbursement of the Capital Reserve Fund, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is authorized to transfer the sum of $26,522.23 from the transfer station budget, $11,822.23, and the wastewater fund, $14,700 from DPW Capital Reserve Fund. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, August 13th, 2024.
Second.
All right, motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Granessi. On the motion, Counsel Cherichello?
Yes.
Counsel Webb?
Yes.
Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. All right. Next up is Resolution 2024-046 to transfer funds to the Derry Economic Development Expendable Trust Fund, and Chief Financial Officer Mark Fleischer presenting again.
Yes. So, as David mentioned earlier, Senate Bill 87 became law back in 2021, and it allows Derry to repurpose no more than 50% of the wheeling revenue received that is associated with the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Project for future economic development, investment, and expenditure purposes. For FY 2024, the wheeling revenue received was $253,192.40, of which up to 50%, or $126,596.20, can be transferred to the Dairy Economic Development Expendable Trust. That fund was established in FY 2022 with the town council as agents to expend. We're seeking approval via Resolution 2024-046 to transfer $126,596.20 to the fund, and once completed, the balance in the fund will be $357,460.26. Questions?
Madam Chair, seeing no questions from the board, I'll read the following resolution. Number 2024-046, transfer funds to the Dairy Economic Development Expendable Trust Fund, whereas Section 9(7) of the Town Charter empowers the Town Council to transfer any unencumbered appropriation balance, and whereas the Town Council previously authorized participation in the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnection Project, and whereas participation included receiving wheeling charges from users of the dairy system within the project, and whereas the town advocated to the legislature to amend the statute to allow a portion of the revenue to be utilized for economic development purposes, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is authorized to transfer the sum $126,596.20 from the Water Division Wheeling Revenue account to the Dairy Economic Development Expendable Trust. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage, August 13, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Councilor McEachern, second by Councilor Ganassi. On the motion, Councilor Chercello?
Yes.
Councilor Webb?
Yes.
Councilor Foot?
Yes.
Councilor Ganassi?
Yes.
Councilor McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, 6-0. Motion passes 6-0. All right, last one. Resolution 2024-047 to finalize the FY25 appropriations for the 2024 tax rate. Why don't you just stay and do this one too?
Just likes hanging out with us.
So, per Resolution 2024-016, the FY 2025 budget was adopted by the Town Council on May 7th, 2024, in the amount of $66,108,370. Post-budget adoption, Resolution 2024-031 was adopted by the Town Council on June 18th, 2024, and impacts the FY 2025 appropriations and revenues. That resolution adopted a supplemental appropriation for increased construction and debris disposal costs, also known as C&D, at the transfer station in the amount of $99,000. Additionally, the resolution increased C&D revenues to be collected at the transfer station by $99,000, which will offset the appropriation increase. These revenues and expenditure increases have no additional effect on the estimated 2024 tax rate. In order for New Hampshire DRA to set the 2024 tax rate, we are seeking approval of the amended appropriations total for FY 2025 in the amount of $66,207,370. That's what I have.
Questions on this one?
So before I read the resolution, let me be clear, because the dollar amount in the resolution is $66,108,370. You need it to say that, or $66,207,370?
It's $66,207,370.
Okay. Because I thought that was incorrect. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yes.
Okay. So for the councilors, you may want to adjust that in the file. Madam Chair, I'll read the resolution. Resolution 2024-47 to finalize the FY25 budget. Where Section 9(4) of the Town Charter vests the Town Council with the responsibility to enact the town budget by May 31st, whereas the Town Council has reviewed and revised the budget as proposed by the Town Administrator and has acted upon resolutions necessary to implement the various services and programs within the budget, whereas the Town Council subsequently adopted a resolution for C&D disposal at the transfer station within the supplemental appropriation process, and whereas the State Department of Revenue Administration has requested a revised bottom line budget amount from which the 2024 tax rate be calculated, now therefore be resolved in council that the Town Council hereby finalizes the FY25 town budget in the amount of $66,207,370. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage, adopted 8/13/2024.
Second.
All right. Motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Granessi. On the motion, Counsel Cherichello?
Yes.
Counsel Webb?
Yes.
Counsel Foot?
Yes.
Counsel Granessi?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Any counselor comments or liaison reports this evening?
I have just a quick comment. If you
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So voting is September 10th for the primary. I did have a couple people had concerns because the Pinkerton will have school that day. A couple of people called me. I came over to talk to Tina. Unfortunately, she was out doing some ballots, I guess, but absentee ballots. But I was able to talk to our town administrator, and there's a plan in place. So for those who are thinking that there's going to be no parking, we have plenty of parking. The plan's a really good one. I'm sure that I think that the plan's going to be discussed probably at the next meeting, I think. Yeah, which would be a week before. But I just wanted to share that because I did get a couple of phone calls. They got a really good plan in place, so no one's going to get tied up, and there'll be plenty of parking. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I'll bring up, just so everybody's aware, we did have a legislative meeting the other night. Thank you to both Dave and Aaron for attending. We had several state reps there and members of the school board, as well as our clerk. It was a productive meeting where we reviewed what's happening at the State House, what's happening at the school and at the council level. So I think it was a productive meeting, and people seem to understand the directions that each one wanted to take and what we need to do going forward.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hearing no other actions, I'll make a motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion by Counsel McEachern, second by Counsel Granessi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Evening.